Hello everyone, this is Venom, and today we're gonna have to talk about it. We're gonna have to talk about the bullshit that people are going on about with this Palworld situation here. Alright, so before we begin, get some disclaimers because there's always these people in the comments, even on a small video. Let me make this very clear. I've been playing Pokemon since literally when it released back in the 90s, alright? I'm an avid Pokemon player. I've been playing Pokemon since whenever it came, I want to say it was like 96 or some crap. I'm currently playing Violent. I've beaten all of it. In fact, the only thing I haven't done right now is completing my Blueberry Pokédex, okay? Literally, I've been doing every event. I love Pokemon. I've been playing it since, back in the day, including the card game. Though I haven't played that one in a while, okay? That being said, I also love Palworld, and quite honestly, whether you like it or not, a lot of the crap I'm seeing about Palworld in the media is complete bullshit. I'm going to start off by saying this too, and forget my chair, I'm getting a new one, I know it's squeaking a bit. When Palworld came out, I remember seeing it a couple years ago. I thought it was older than that. I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking that it was a meme game at the time. Now, let me show you something real quick before we really get into it. I'm going to show you... This was a trailer that came out 2 years ago. Keep in mind, 2 years ago. This was the original Palworld trailer that came out. I want you to take a look at it. Okay? Now, this definitely looks different than what we see today, okay? A lot of the stuff has changed. Like, you don't see the kingdom in there. Like, a lot of these creatures look the same, but a lot of this is definitely different. You can definitely tell that a lot has changed from then until now. But this was what Palworld released 2 years ago for a trailer, okay? You see a lot of the same creatures here, all the penguins here. You see freaking, you see the electric thing. You see all these creatures were definitely in this trailer. Now, a lot of the building and everything else looks different. But this is what was released 2 years, actually, it was in 2021, so 3 years ago, damn it. Again, you clearly see all this stuff in here. All these creatures are currently in the game that you see. Okay. The breeding system is in there. All this stuff, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. I just want to show, the proof is here, and you can see here on YouTube. The trailer's been out for at least 2 years, okay? So this is nothing new, okay? So all the accusations that they used AI to make this, all that shit is bullshit, but we're going to get into it. I just want to have the baseline for that the trailer's been out for this long. This game has been in open development for years. I want that to be known from the get-go, and I'm going to go through the rest of this. Now, I didn't realize that there was a so-called controversy about Palworld until I got on YouTube. Now, I didn't realize that there was a controversy because I don't live on Twitter, which is probably why I'm so well-adjusted. But the only people that I see complaining about Palworld have either been people on PlayStation who were just pissed off that the game isn't on there. Because let's face it, if it was on PlayStation, they wouldn't be saying shit. Now, I understand the console wars. I understand why they exist. I don't like it. I understand that there are people who are rationally connected to their consoles. And those same people that get pissed off when a game is not on their console and make all sorts of excuses as to why it's not on there will be the same people that brag that a game is on their console or exclusive to their console. So I don't take console wars seriously whatsoever. Even being a PC player, I was a PlayStation player myself back in the day. Okay, I've got a PS4 upstairs. I have not got a PS5. I haven't cared to get one. Same for the Xbox Series S. All that shit. I've been on PC for a while. It's just too much for me to take care of. Plus, I got real life shit to do. Regardless, I understand. My first game system I actually bought myself was an Xbox. I own a PS4. I've been on every side of the console, quote-unquote, wars. Okay, I've just bought what I wanted to buy. And I also own a Switch, by the way, too. So it's not like I'm taking any side here. So I want to make that very clear. So, again, the only people I see getting upset about this are people that have PlayStations that are upset that the game is not on there. And again, if you're upset the game is not on there, you probably should talk to Sony because it doesn't make sense for any developer to not put it on PlayStation if they could. Now, people on Twitter, and again, Twitter, it's just not a real place, so who cares about that? Journalists who are always looking to stir up some kind of bullshit controversy, and game developers. Big AAA game developers. These are the only people I've seen legitimately get upset about Palworld. There's, of course, PETA, but PETA has done way more harm than good. They've killed more animals than they say, so we're not even going to talk about PETA. But those are the only people that I see getting upset about Palworld. Now, of course, people are making videos about it because the game has sold like 9 million copies on Steam at this point. It is a huge game, and it's fun. I've got already like 100-some hours on the damn thing. In fact, let me check my Steam right now. How long have I been playing Palworld? I've got 109 hours on Palworld. That's pretty damn good, okay? I'm loving this damn thing. My wife and I are playing on a server. I got a server for the channel. It's great, okay? But I didn't realize that there was a controversy until I got on here and saw that as game developers and people on PlayStation or Nintendo fans that are upset with Palworld. Now I'm going to start off. I showed you the trailer already. There was apparently a statement put out by Nintendo about Palworld. Okay. Now I showed you the trailer and showed that this has been out for 2 years and this has been in open development for a reason. Okay. Now I'm going to read you this official response from the Pokemon company, from Nintendo. And that is here. It says, "We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon as its world and work to bring the world together to Pokemon in the future, the Pokemon Company." Okay. For a long time, I wouldn't even mention the name Nintendo on my channel because Nintendo has been one of, if not the most litigious video game company on the planet. Okay. There was a Pokemon mod that came out for Palworld recently that the developers, like dumbasses, put behind a paywall. Okay. You can't do that. You put it out for free, a lot more gray area there. But you put it behind a paywall, you're getting your ass sued and taken down. Okay. Why do you think that Pixelmon had been taken down by now? It's been out for years. Okay. This game has been in open development for years. If Nintendo was going to or could sue, again, I'll say it again, if Nintendo was going to or could sue the developers of Palworld, they would have done it long before now. They can't do it. And why can't they do it? Because they did not copy any of their Pokemon. Now, they may have been inspired by some Pokemon, but let me show you something too. Keep in mind that Pokemon have over 1,000 fucking Pokemon at this point. So you kind of have the Simpsons scenario here, where it's hard to make any kind of animated comedy episode without doing something the Simpsons already did. Well, let me show you something here. Now, RDC World, and again, they were joking about it. I love these guys. They put out a pretty good video about it. Go watch it on RDC World, too. But they put out a video where, they're, mimicking, the Pokemon lawyers trying to sue the company. And they pulled out Lucario versus Anubis as an example. Again, I know they love the game. They put out a good video. It's funny as hell, but I'm going to use this as an example, too. Now, I want you to take a look at something. Here we go. This is a character called Anubis. In Palworld, okay? This is a character called Anubis, and this is who they compare him to. This is Lucario. This is a Pokemon Lucario. We all recognize him. He's one of the most popular Pokemon on the planet, okay? They are very similar looking, okay? They're both bipedal dogs who are fighters, okay? You see Lucario, you see Anubis, okay? Now, look who else Anubis looks like. The actual fucking Egyptian god Anubis, okay? He looks more like Anubis, who he's based off of, than he does Lucario. Lucario, if you said he was based off Anubis, you'd say, oh, okay, yeah, maybe a little bit here. And then you actually look at Anubis and you're like, okay, this Anubis is actually based off of Anubis, okay? Again, very similar, but again, they were clearly inspired by Anubis, but that's not fucking Lucario, okay? Now again, that's just an example. But again, it's running into, there's only so many animals on the planet. Pokemon have got over 1,000 some on Pokemon. I dare you to name me an animal on the planet that's well known that they don't have a Pokemon for but now. Now, the other people I see that are getting into this are people that just have no idea about games whatsoever. Typically people on Twitter, they have no fucking clue what they're talking about with gaming. Most of them, I should say. Now, I also want to say this too. Pokemon is neither the first creature capture game ever. They are not the best creature capture game ever. And, yeah, if there was going to be any kind of lawsuit whatsoever, it would be Pokemon getting sued long before anybody else would be, okay? I'm going to show you something else here too. This is Dragon Quest, a game called Dragon Quest, okay? It has been out for, I think, since the 80s, here we go. The first release of Dragon Quest was in 1986. Now, Dragon Quest is kind of a series of games, and from what I played, because I played quite a few of them, they've got kind of 3 main categories. It's more of an umbrella term. They've got the mainline games, okay? So if we're going to use Pokemon as an example, think about the mainline Pokemon games. Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, right now we got Scarlet and Violet. And then you can think about their sub-games like, Mystery Dungeon or Legends Arceus. Well, Dragon Quest is kind of the same way. They've got Dragon Quest. They've also got Dragon Quest Builders, which was a building Dragon Quest, okay? There was combat in there, but there was also building. I think there might have only been one Builders game in there, but it was his own subgenre. There's also Dragon Quest Monsters. Now, they haven't all been called Dragon Quest Monsters. I know the newest one is called Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. I know because, again, I'm also a Nintendo fan. I'm playing it, okay? And in that game, in those monster games, you actually capture monsters And I'm not going to say similar to Pokemon because Dragon Quest Monsters came out, or the original ones came out, long before Pokemon's first Pokemon game ever came out. You see, Dragon Quest came out in 86, and then Pokemon, their first one came out in 96. Now, here is where the important part comes in. Even if it's not one of the Monsters titles, all the monsters in the monster capture games for Dragon Quest are still in the mainline games. They're usually just enemies. In the monster capture games, you get to capture those same monsters, but the same monsters are in those baseline games. So that would mean that if anybody was going to get sued, it would have been Nintendo getting sued long before we even got to this point here too. Now, you can say, well, maybe the designs are so much different. Let me show you else here something. Let me show you something else that's going to blow your mind here. Here are some of the very common monsters in Dragon Quest, okay? Let me zoom in here, okay? And again, Dragon Quest came out before Pokemon. Here are some of the Dragon Quest monsters, okay? Here are some of the Gen 1 Pokemon here on the right. You guys noticing anything similar there? Yeah, very similar. If this was to come out today, and let's say that it was Dragon Quest coming out right now with these monsters versus Pokemon, you would swear that every one of these monsters was copied from Pokemon. However, it looks like, and again, this is literally what it is, these monsters came out long before Pokemon. They are similar, but again, they're all different enough that I don't know if they were inspired by it or not, but they are not the same monster. I mean, you literally can't have a Pokemon in a different game. They may have a similar design, but they are not that monster. It is what it is with that. And again, people who don't know anything about gaming assume that since Pokemon is the biggest monster capture game that there is, and let's face it, it is. They are the most popular one. They've been around for quite a while. They just assume that every other capture game that comes out is based off Pokemon. That's just not how it works. So yeah, I mean, that's just from the date-wise, doesn't even make sense. So like I said, if Nintendo was aware that this game existed, and there's no way that they weren't aware of it, because again, this is another Japanese company made Palworld. It's been in open development for 3 years now. They are very aware of its existence, and they could have done something about it. If they had breached their intellectual property, they would have done something about it long before now. Now, they're not going to sue the company just because they're making games similar to them. That's going to be a very bad business practice on their part. And it'll get thrown out and just make them look bad. And you can't sue them because they made a similar kind of game. They don't own the genre. And again, even if they did try to sue that, or sue because they made something in the same genre, if you could sue because of the genre was owned, Pokemon wasn't the first one. So again, all the lawsuit bullshit is out the window. Even this response from Nintendo is basically company, okay, even I'm not a lawyer and even I can tell that there's nothing. There's not going to be an investigation. I mean, they're probably going to have somebody officially look through it to make sure that no Pokemon, or like literally nothing was ripped off, like no intellectual property was stolen. There wasn't. I'm sure they've already looked at this, especially as big as this game has gotten. There's probably Pokemon devs right now playing the damn game. So all that is out. On top of the fact, we've also got other games like Digimon and stuff too. So the lawsuit, you guys can just go ahead, and I say you guys, I'm saying people who are talking about Nintendo should sue Pokemon. It's not going to happen. It can't happen because they literally don't have their Pokemon in there. Now, that being said, I do want to talk about some other things about this, because this is not the first time that we've seen this happen in the last couple of years. Now, I haven't played one of these games here, but every time a big breakout hit happens, we're having developers and weird journalists come out against the damn game talking a lot of random shit about it. I can think of 3 in the last few years. Again, we got Palworld, which is going on. We're in the middle of it right now. Before that, we just recently had Baldur's Gate 3. A game that was, again, not one I played yet because I didn't have time at the moment, and I know as soon as I start playing it, I'm going to be stuck on it. But it was a breakout hit. It was a huge game. People loved it, and it had so much detail in it. You could do so many things that it basically broke the fucking internet. The thing is, it made other developers look so bad, too. There were articles that were coming out saying Baldur's Gate being so detailed and good is a bad thing for the developers. Like, no, it's not a good thing for it to be like this. It's all bullshit. It just makes other devs look bad because for years, gamers have been asking these big AAA developers to make games we actually want and stop being lazy, stop releasing buggy messes, and then we have, the same shit coming out every year. I think we had freaking Maddens that were coming out that were supposed to be new, and they was the exact same game and just updated a couple things on it. I think there was one Madden where they forgot to update the date on some of the art inside the game, and they were basically busted on that, even though people already knew what the hell it was. Same with FIFA, or it might have been FIFA. But, releasing the same games every year. Since we're talking about Pokemon too, let's talk about Pokemon. I've been playing Violet since it came out. It is a buggy mess and is very, very laggy in the game. The Switch is not a weak piece of hardware. You can make a good game with it, and the graphics on the Scarlet and Violet are not like groundbreaking. You could very easily, if you've got the skill, make a decent game for it. But from what I understand, and again, I'm not someone who covers like a lot of Nintendo. I don't get too deep into politics and stuff like that. But from what I understand, the people who are making the Pokemon games have been like the same team forever. They don't know the system. They're not passing it on to anybody else. And from what I understand, they don't even want to make Pokemon games. Now, again, this is from other people who have actually covered this. I'm getting this third and fourth hand information. But it clearly shows in their product that it looks like it's pretty lazy. And that's really what this comes down to, is that the developers, as far as the developers pushing back on Palworld, they're pretty much being proven to be being lazy and not giving gamers what they want. And here we have an indie game company who apparently only had like a $10,000 budget versus the AAA companies who have millions and billions of dollars worth of budgets and tons of people, versus a small indie developer company who made a game that is much, much deeper than people are giving it credit for who have not played the game. Again, the people who have played it know how deep it is, so they already know when people are talking shit about it, calling it a meme game, which again, I thought it was at first. They already know that they're talking out of their ass. But yeah, it's making these developers and these companies look bad because they made a game that people genuinely want to play. Now, we're going to get into that generally want to play thing here in a little bit more. But again, I have to admit that I actually thought Palworld was a meme game back in 2021. It looked like it would. I mean, it looked like it was Pokemon with guns. And there was also something else about it too. And that is that it looked like the game itself had too much in it to be real, I should say. There are some times when you kind of look at a game and you're looking at a trailer, and I'm going to go back to the trailer here too. I'm going to lower it down here. There are some times when you're looking at a game trailer and it just, no, that's the wrong video here. There are some times where you're looking at it and it just looks like the stuff that's in it is not real. It looks like it's pre-rendered, okay? Now, like this shot right here, clearly look pre-rendered. This looks fine. But it looks like, a lot of times it looks like there's just stuff that just does not make sense. Like, this cannot possibly be in the game. It looks pre-rendered. It looks like you wouldn't be able to actually do this, or maybe we're looking at a cutscene, or it's full of features that they end up changing out later on. Now, obviously, I'm looking at this house they built. I mean, this house does not exist in the game. They do have a building system, but it's a lot more detailed, or I should say it's a lot more customizable than what you're seeing here. A lot of stuff you see in here, like you don't have cows strapped to the wheat. We got a whole different system, but all the basic creatures and the basic, the way the areas look is pretty much the same. I'm gonna let that keep playing. So like I said, I thought it was a meme game. I didn't think it was real. I thought it might be a gacha game or something crazy. It turns out, I mean, the game's got bugs in it right now. It is early access, but it looks and plays pretty damn awesome right now. And like I said, just stuff like this, picking up random sheep to use as shields. I mean, having guns and RPGs and all this crazy stuff, having animals, using weapons. Like, all this looks like here, right here, this random assembly line where creatures on this looks like something like you wouldn't be able to functionally do in a game unless it was like a huge AAA game. Well, that illusion is quickly being dissolved. Like, it is quickly being proven that is just not the truth with how games work. Of course, we see boss fights here. We got boss fights in the game. Again, they have changed a lot of things in here. The boss fights, for example, are in towers. I'm not going to get too spoiler into it, but yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff in the trailer has changed, but the basic core premise and the creatures are there. And of course, we've got even more creatures now. So, yeah, I mean, it's just proven that AAA developers are either lazy or it's what we found out like with Destiny, or what would happen with Destiny. For those that don't remember what happened with Destiny, is that we basically found out that they had an idea of what they wanted it to be, and basically the entire game got developed in 6 months because they kept changing things up until the last minute, and I think the whole game was developed in like 6 months or something. Again, originally was supposed to be like a space-faring game where we're going to different planets, and it was like more of a... They had some original art that was way different than what we got today, but long story short, they basically, essentially they wasted a bunch of time and money. They could have made something a lot better. Don't get me wrong, I still love Destiny and Destiny 2, but we're finding out more and more that these developers are just bullshitting as far as how hard it is to make these games. They've got these huge budgets, but they're not giving us what we want. And there are a lot of instances where they could give us what they want, they just won't do it for some reason. But again, we're going to get back to that here in a second. But again, we had Baldur's Gate was one that was recent. Let's go back to Elden Ring. Elden Ring is an example of not a small company making a game, but a bigger company. Elden Ring was made by the same people that made Dark Souls. Those are some of the biggest, most popular games of all time. They're really hard. People love to play them. Elden Ring comes out, another breakout hit. They basically take the same formula they had, but they expand on it and give people more what they would want and give them something new and innovative, and it fucking blows up. And guess what? Devs are pissed off about it, saying, well, this is not how you do game design, and this is not how you do this and that. That's like somebody who's broke working at Walmart as a cashier, a big giant company, and you're working at a cashier trying to tell the self-made millionaire that, hey, the way you're doing this doesn't make sense. So that's like how me, as a small-ass YouTuber, trying to tell Mr. Beast, hey, your editing software, the way you do your audio, is really shitty. This is not how you do things. This is not how you do it. That doesn't make any damn sense, does it? No, of course not. Elden Ring did something innovative, and it fucking worked. Hopefully they continue to do so. And again, that was a AAA studio. So it's not like these studios can't get it done. They can, they just aren't. Now let's turn this all the way back to this being a ripoff of other games. Well, this game definitely takes after a lot of games. Now, people keep saying that this is Pokemon with guns. Again, if you don't play any games, then yeah, that's probably the most apt description you have for it. For people who play a lot of games, I mean, if you know what it is, this is more Ark with Pokemon or creatures you can capture in it. And again, I keep using Pokemon, just because Pokemon is the most popular creature capture game there is, so that's what people know about it, or recognize. But it is basically a creature capture game with Ark, or Ark with a creature capture game in it. Or I should say it's Ark, and so you can also capture creatures in Ark. It's Ark with a lot less faff in getting your creatures. There's a lot less bullshit to getting your T-Rex. You don't got to sit there and tame it up for, 8 hours to get a perfect tame. No, it's a lot less effort to do that, and the payoff is a lot bigger. In fact, if your creatures die in the game, they are not dead permanently. You can just put them in your PAL box and back in 10 minutes, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, this game has a lot of elements of other games, and they mesh together. Basically it looks like they took a lot of other game concepts that they liked, added them to the game, and it works. For example, again, I keep talking about Ark, and I'm going to pull something else up here. I'm going to let this play some more. I keep talking about Ark, and the level up system and how you get Ingram points. I mean, it's very similar. It's very Ark-esque. Some of the there are ancient technologies you can unlock. It's kind of like the tech trees. It's not as hard to get to tech, but there are ancient technologies. Talking too fast now. That you can unlock along with the regular technologies. Again, very Ark-esque. We've got the crafting and survival aspect. Again, a lot of crafting and survival games. Kind of taking some of the best of all of that. We've got the creature capture portion of it. Again, it's very Dragon Quest Monsters, it's very Pokemon, it's very Digimon. But in a more, I should say, realistic or more, lifelike setting. That is that, you've got your pals, and not only can they fight, do stuff with you, they can help you build your base, they can help you, grow crops, and you can also eat them. And the ones that have hands can help you craft and hold guns. It is very, more likely to what would probably happen in real life if pals were real. I mean, there are people that exploit them in game. They capture. I mean, you can see right here. There's an example of pals working on a damn assembly line. I mean, that's very likely what would probably happen in real life. I'm not saying it's right or not, but these are like the damn near. It's like all the intrusive thoughts you could have rolled into one game. So again, I mean, it's not like one genre. I mean, it's definitely a crafting survival game. I mean, that is what it is at its core. It is a crafting survival game, and a creature capture aspect enhances that even more because those creatures can help you survive. They help you capture other creatures. They help you do a lot of stuff. Like it almost looks like this fake game right here. But here we are. Let me bring up a couple tweets here. So when we had this whole crap come out here, there were developers that were coming out basically accusing Palworld of quote unquote cheating. Here we have Dale Walker. I guess he was a developer for Naughty Dog. Keep in mind, Naughty Dog did shit like, I guess they did like the Walking Dead series. They did The Last of Us. I guess Naughty Dog is currently doing a Last of Us 2 remake. I don't know why they're remaking a game that's only like a few years old. I know The Last of Us was a hugely popular game. I never played it, but I know it was really popular. The Last of Us 2, there was a lot of drama involved in it. But they're remaking a game that's 3 years old. Why aren't they making something new? Why isn't The Last of Us 3 coming out or another better game? Why are we remaking a game? And why is this somebody working for a developer who's remaking a game that's not even old enough to remake, trying to accuse a small developer of cheating? Now here you can see the tweet here. I don't got the whole thing here, but he basically says, my gut is telling me Palworld was made nefariously. I just have no proof, just dev intuition. Well, your dev intuition is getting you to make a game that nobody wants right now, so I don't think your tuition is anything you should go off of. There's another one here, or the reply is, it does, I guess it's Nikki Callis, I don't know who she is, but it does feel like that, doesn't it? And then another one at the very bottom, he says, making a game is just so difficult. They're cheating somehow, I just can't pinpoint it. Apparently, the Palworld devs had never made a game before, were learning on the fly, and only had $10,000 to the name of like 4 people. Apparently, making a game is not that fucking hard. In fact, I know making a game is not that hard. Now, making extremely fancy-ass graphics that people aren't asking for, and this is, again, something that we've been talking about for a while in the gaming community, we want good playing games. We don't care how damn good your graphics are. That seems to be where most of the damn money for AAA games goes half the time. But yeah, making a game is not that damn hard. I'm not saying I can do it or do it well. You can make a game, whether it's good or not is a different story. There's a YouTuber called Pirate Software, or he has a channel called Pirate Software, and he's the one that actually said that. I mean, I'd never had thought of it. It's like, yeah, anyone can make a game. And I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said anyone can make a game. Making a good game just takes a little bit of practice or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, anyone can make a game. And clearly Palworld has made a damn good game because people love it. Again, 9 million copies right now, and it's only going to keep going up. And it's not the only person doing that crap. Like, this is not the only people doing it. I see a lot of, like, I saw basically an unhinged rant from someone who's apparently like a Nintendo. I hate the term fanboy, and I hate the console wars, but being in this space, I've got no other way to put it, he is a Nintendo fanboy, which is weird because, again, I'm a fan, but I can still enjoy the game. I don't know why people are just so stuck on one over the other, but a Nintendo fanboy, basically, I haven't seen so much cope in a while. I don't even know how to describe the unhinged rant I saw in there, but like, he basically tried to say that everything Palworld did, Pokemon had already did, and this is where I actually kind of want to end with this, and when I say end, I mean that's what I want my final topic to be, is that Palworld could, or I should say Pokemon could have done so much and could do so much, and they don't, and if they lose any customers because of this, or I'm not even going to go that direction. I should say that Nintendo needs to learn from this and improve from here. First off, if you've got people on the dev team for Pokemon that don't want to do it or don't know how to use the software, you need to get them off now and get on some people that know how to use the software. Or know how to use a program on the hardware. I'm not a programmer. You need people who know how to make a game for the Switch and make it well. That's who you need on there first and foremost. You need people that actually want to make the damn games, and then you need to actually start doing something called innovating. And before someone gives me shit about this, first off, tell me something. How many times has Pokemon introduced a system and then removed it a generation later and not brought it back? In fact, and here's another question, where is the battle tower for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? There's no battle tower, okay? Where is that for Scarlet and Violet? We don't have one. That is one of the most sought after and one of the most requested features for Pokemon games. And I didn't even play one generation of Pokemon. I had to skip one or two. But I know the battle tower was what people wanted. And where is that? Why is it that we're losing stuff like being able to crash balls? Why are we losing stuff like where are all of the different competitions you could go in? Where are all the battle arena the battle arena and battle tower type stuff? Why is all that taken out? I'm glad we went open world with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they did an innovation, but that's it. What happened to letting our Pokemon follow us around all the time? We can kind of do that in Scarlet and Violet now. We can let our Pokemon out. Okay, that's fine. We want to do that for a while. What about letting us ride any of our Pokemon who we can ride? Okay, why can't I hop on the back of a Gyarados right now and go swimming? I said, there's a lot of different things Pokemon have added in over the years and then taken out. And on top of that, they just really have not actually innovated because at the core of the game itself hasn't changed. Now, Legend Arceus, and again, I'm talking mainline games. Now, Legends Arceus did something different, and we do have some non-mainline games, like the Mystery Dungeon series, stuff like that, but those aren't mainline games. How about we take, Arceus as a base and make that base a mainline game and add in some additional stuff? How about we make that Pokemon Adventure where we actually start off, as a trainer in our hometown, and we have to actually do that survival portion of it? Why can't it be where we're going through the Viridian Forest, we actually have to have food. We got to keep our Pokemon fed. We got to have shelter for them. If we don't, then they're not going to perform as well, or we can all get knocked out and have to go to the hospital. We can do a lot of different stuff. It doesn't even have to be survival crafting, but some kind of innovation versus what we have now, which is the same thing every generation. And that's kind of the whole point, is that Palworld has done something that people, whether you want to call them intrusive thoughts, and let's face it, Palworld is basically every intrusive thought a Pokemon player has had, or that any kind of creature capture game has had, any kind of intrusive thoughts you've had, it's in the game. Or any kind of crafting survival game you've had, it's in the game. Or, not all of them, but quite a few of them, I should say. And again, I'm comparing to Pokemon right now so much because, again, they are the biggest, most well-known creature capture game. And on top of that, everyone keeps saying, why isn't Pokemon suing? It's, why isn't Pokemon suing? Why isn't Pokemon suing? Well, Pokemon doesn't own the creature capture game, but that's why I keep comparing to Pokemon. So if anyone tries to come back and say, well, why do you keep saying Pokemon so much if it's not a Pokemon ripoff? Because everybody is comparing it to Pokemon, and unfortunately, that is the best comparison. And again, that's only to the creature models. And that's the other thing people got to think about. It's only the creature models themselves that are Pokemon-esque. The actual fights are nothing like Pokemon. I mean, it's a free-for-all, okay? It's not like a turn-based thing. It is a fucking free-for-all. You can get jumped. You can annihilate a whole herd of creatures. So it's not like a one-on-one Pokemon battle. They just have to be creatures you capture. Everything past that is fair game. Hell, I can hop in and use my... Well, we're not going to get into that because I want to get Dean on YouTube, but... that's why nothing's happening right now at Pokemon, because they can't. Nintendo can't sue them because they can't sue them. I mean, it's that simple. Now, like I said, there's been a lot of random comparisons that don't need to be made, or there are comparisons made by people that don't understand anything about the game. They're not going to sue, and if they do, it's not going to end well for them because they're probably going to open themselves up to a lawsuit. And I'm branding on this picture here because, again, I want to reiterate that Pokemon is not the first, and they have got plenty. And they have long-standing Pokemon that were clearly similar to to other creatures that were out a decade before Pokemon ever came out. So that's why I've got this up here. Now we're going to end with that one, but that's what's going on right now. Now again, I only see people who are doing. I only see people who are just like, again, Nintendo fanboys. I hate to say it because, again, I like Nintendo, so I don't know why. I don't know. It is what it is with the whole fanboy thing. But, yeah, it's just people on Twitter. It's just devs who are honestly jealous or pissed off because the idea that games are super hard to make and you can't innovate, we already knew it was bullshit, but this just further reiterates it. Every year there's another game that either a AAA game comes out that, is actually innovative, that we love, or an indie studio comes out with a game that we love, and it just shatters every myth that the AAA devs try to put out there. So it is what it is. That's what's going on now. This is just another one of those shattered myths. We know that the myth of these developers having such a hard time. I'm not saying the devs have such a hard time, but it's not impossible to innovate. And it is not that damn hard to make a game, especially when you've got millions or billions behind you. You just need somebody who's in charge who can actually take the reins and not corporatize it. And I think that's what the big thing is. A lot of these games have been corporatized, and devs don't get to be creative. So a lot of these AAA games, if they stopped corporatizing, they could probably get a lot more innovation in and probably be a lot more popular. But hopefully Palworld will do something positive besides giving me hundreds of hours of joy, because I'm going back into it right after this, after I record my next Destiny 2 video. I got to get my shorts out still. But hopefully Pokemon actually learned something for this one. Now, haven't seen anyone saying that this is taken away from Pokemon sales, because they're still selling like hotcakes. It's still Pokemon. So it's not like they're losing out on any money on this. But hopefully they will actually take this and realize, hey, some innovation will probably get us even more popular again. Like, imagine Pokemon selling 10, 20 million again. I mean, that'd be crazy. So imagine Pokemon actually innovating. That would be insane. They take over the gaming industry. Imagine that Pokemon MMO that people want to come out. A Pokemon MMO would go fucking hard, and you could ride that one for years, Nintendo. You wouldn't even need a mainline game for a while, but, yeah, it is what it is on that one. So I wanted to go ahead and just touch base on what's going on with Palworld. Again, we are obviously playing it. I haven't live streamed it as much because I'm still balancing live streaming and actually making my videos and everything, it's hard. I'm at least trying to get either A, a live stream done every day, or B, get out one of my shorts or another Destiny video. So I'm trying to get at least something out every day, touching my channel, making sure I've got something coming out constantly and consistently. And again, making sure it's all stuff I enjoy doing. I don't want to burn out doing this. So that's the big thing. I want to actually make sure I'm doing stuff that I enjoy doing. The second I stop enjoying a game, I'm probably going to go ahead and taper off playing it for a while and go to another one. I think that's the key to it, actually doing things that I like to do. Otherwise, it's just going to make me burn out and not want to do it again. Or do it again for a while, I should say. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got for today, guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing. Again, we cover pretty much whatever game I want to cover right now. We are still doing stuff for Destiny 2. We are currently playing Palworld. We are... I've still got an Elden Ring playthrough to finish up. I'm waiting to see if we got any more information about the DLC coming up. We still got the Elden Ring going. I haven't forgot about that one. And yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you all for coming by. Like if you like it. Let me know what you guys think about Palworld in the description, or down below too in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about it too, by the way. And yeah, I will see you guys later.